Ever felt that one Devil's Tail is not enough? Well, here I am to tell you that you can get up to 3 Devil's Tails, or 2 Devil's Tails and a Devil's Knife, if you're feeling that way, on the Switch version of the game. Depending on what you want, you may need the demo version of it too. Either demo version of the game works for this glitch. So we're going to start with 3 Devil's Tails. For 3 Devil's Tails, you can start on the full version of the game. The demo is not necessary. And what you're going to do is, in Chapter 1, defeat Devil through pacifism. Doing so, he will give you a Devil's Tail. So from here, just beat the game as normal. In Chapter 2, you're going to continue from your Chapter 1 file. And you're free to skip the intro. And just beat Chapter 2 as normal. Now that you're in the light world, head back to the dark world in Castle Town. And simply make sure that Susie has the Devil's Tail equipped. Then leave Castle Town and head home. At home, start the ending sequence by telling Susie that you are going back home. Enter the restroom, and you see we can't even leave without washing our hands first, but press the home button on your Switch and you can leave. And since you left, head straight back to Castletown again. By the way, it's important that you haven't entered the hospital yet, as it's a major point in the glitch. Now that you are back in Castletown, head to the crack in the wall. You'll see that it'll be glowing. And if you reach inside, you'll find a second Devil's Tail. As you can see, there it is. Though of course, we don't know if it's actually the second Devil's Tail or just the first one, but given to Chris back. So, to check that, now we're gonna head to the hospital. Specifically Rudy's room of the hospital. As doing so will give Susie back to us, as she is a mandatory part of this cutscene. I'm guessing it's because we entered the room that it worked, but if you try using this with other cutscenes that need Susie, the game will just crash instead. If we head back to Castletown, you'll see that not only does Susie still have her Devil's Tail, but we also have one in our armor still. Which is all great to have 2 Devil's Tails, but you can also get a third. Make sure Susie has both Devil's Tails equipped. To save your game, exit, and back on the file select, just select whatever save you saved your game to. And then we're gonna head back home, which will this time not have any cutscenes to it. But if you enter the restroom again and press the home button again, when you leave, Susie will be missing again. Now that Susie is missing, the game no longer recognizes that we have a Devil's Tail on us. So, if we head back to the crack, you'll see that there's a third Devil's Tail. Though, again, you can't be sure if it actually is a third Devil's Tail or if it just replaced one of the ones that we already got. So, we're gonna head to Chapter 3 and see that at the beginning of Chapter 3, not only does Chris have a Devil's Tail, but Susie also has both of hers. So with 3 Jevil'sTails, you could do a lot more with that extra attack power and magic. But what if we wanted 2 Jevil'sTails and a knife? So for that, we're gonna have to start at the demo version of the game. Repeat all the steps until you get the second Jevil'sTail. And once you get your second Jevil'sTail in the demo, make sure that Susie has both Jevil'sTails equipped. And then save and go back to chapter 1. And whatever save slot you have the game in, beat Jevil through violence in that battle. But after you get the knife, steal the fountain, and once you're told to continue in chapter 2, press the home button, exit the demo, go to your system settings, go all the way to data management, head down to delete save data, go to your Deltarunes in full save file, not your Deltarune chapter 1 and 2 demo save file, your Deltarune save file, and select delete save data for whatever user you're using the game on. It will ask you if you're sure and select that. Now head to Deltarune properly. Select whatever user you have your 2 Jevil'sKnives in. Then you're asked to import your save data for chapters 1 and 2. Select yes, and then go back to chapter 2. Now, in whatever chapter you have your 2 Jevil'sTails in, enter it, and do the glitch again. Now, for some reason, instead of a 3rd Jevil'sTail, you will have a Devil's Knife. You know, if you have enough inventory space for it. And yes, transferring from the demo to the full version is a necessary step. I've tried this countless times. But then just wash your hands, stab the subscribe button, and continue from your chapter 2 save file back in chapter 3. Now when Susie wakes up, she will still have the 2 Jevil'sTails, and you'll have the Devil's Knife in your inventory. So, that is how you have basically 3 Jevils in your inventory. So, what can you do for it? What can you do with this? Well, I chose to fight the Roaring Knight with 2 Jevil'sTails and a Devil's Knife, which let me reach the final phase in 7 turns, which is actually the same as the current record, but at least I don't have to worry about being too perfect with my attacks.